Welcome back. You're watching Storyboard. UK-based firm Decisions works as a media auditor, and their services are used by many global marketers and brands to assess whether they are getting the best value for money from their media buying agencies. At times, firm Decisions audits result in renegotiation of contracts and overpayments being returned back to the advertisers. Storyboard editor Anant Rangaswamy caught up with Stephen Broderick, managing partner firm Decisions, recently, and Stephen mentioned how the problem of transparency in terms of media buying is the same in India as faced by many brands in the global markets. How does a brand deal with this? Let's hear this conversation to find out.
Thank you for talking to us. To begin with, tell us crisply what it is your company does.
We help advertisers and clients around the world ensure transparency in their media relationships.
And now expand that a little bit. Why do you think there's a need for transparency? Why isn't there transparency now?
I think it's evolved over the years. I mean, different markets approach things in different ways. There's, the history of advertising goes back many, many years, but I guess the big break in the mid-90s was when traditional creative and media advertising agencies split. And people made the ads went one way, and people who bought the media became a commodity, and it started to be traded in a different way. And as it became traded in a different way, it became a function for some companies to make money on the back of that. And slowly clients have found that perhaps they're not now on top anymore in terms of the knowledge of what they're paying for their advertising in certain markets or certain different types of media.
So now you come to India in 2017. So what is the objective of this trip to India?
We've actually been working in India for some of our global clients now for probably going back 5, 6, 7 years. And we come here a few times a year, not many, many times, as I said, for some of our global clients. And each time we come back, what's confirmed to us is that in the Indian media market is no different from any other market around the world. In terms of there are some issues around transparency, and clients are not being given the transparency that they feel they need and deserve, but more importantly that they think they've been promised.
The nature of your business is such that you will always be at loggerheads with the media agencies.
I wouldn't say we'll always be at loggerheads. I mean, we have differences of opinion, of course we do. But
do you have any friends in that business?
Perhaps we don't get the Christmas party invite. We don't get the Christmas party invites like we used to. But you have to remember, we're ex-agency. Right. Pretty much all of us are ex-agency. So we have lots of colleagues and friends we work with over the years. I think it's very important to say that pretty much now, most of the agency groups do approach this in a very grown-up way. It wasn't like it was when we started the business.
Their existence doesn't benefit the agency either. So there is a natural sort of...
Fine, but there exists... Well, yeah, I guess, if someone could wake up tomorrow morning and say, would they rather we weren't here, I'm sure probably one or two of them would. But, but go back 20 years ago, or maybe even longer, traditional media auditing, benchmarking, that wasn't around. When that came around in the, the late 80s, early 90s, I mean, I remember, because I was in agency world, that in itself then at the time was saying, the agency groups fought that and the agency groups battled against that. Now it's a perfectly legitimate and acceptable part of the landscape. Move on to what we do, and that we went through exactly the same process. When we started the business in the early 2000s, we were challenged many, many times. What are you doing? You don't know what you're doing. Well, we are ex-agency. We know what we're doing. We sat in the CFO's chair. We know what goes on, we know how the game works. So of course we were going to come up against objections and challenges, and sometimes sometimes we may have been criticised fairly. I'm sure we haven't done everything always right, but other times it's been unfair. But I do believe clients can see some of the more unfair criticism of us is actually that it's an attack on what we do, not necessarily how we do it or who we are. It's just, some people don't want us to help clients understand the business, from a transparency point of view.
So you've come, this trip to India is a sort of landmark trip for you, in the sense you're meeting 40 odd clients.
Yeah, today we're potential clients, I'd like to say. So with the invite of the Advertising Association, which is fabulous, we've come along to speak to the industry. It's important to say what we're talking about today is something we've done for many of the industry associations around the world. You know, going back many years, ISBA in the UK was a great advocate of transparency and worked tirelessly and still does for their clients or their members, which are the clients. And you probably say the UK has been the leader in this. And the people at ISBA, along with people at the WFA globally, and then the ANA in the US and the associations in Germany and Australia, everybody's been pushing transparency. So we've accepted an invite to come here today and talk to the market and give our point of view, but also give our experience.
So at the end of today, after you finish your event, how would you measure today as a trip well spent?
I always find a trip coming to India is well spent. It's one of my favourite countries, and it's probably the third or fourth time I've been here, so whatever happens today, it's going to be a trip well spent. But I think from a commercial point of view, I think, I would probably expect some of our global clients who have business in India will probably go back to some of their global contacts and say, look, I've seen firm decisions, I'd like to talk to them in a little bit more detail about India. I think that, I hope there'll be a few clients locally who just invite us in and want to talk on a more informal basis. And sometimes, as great as it is of getting 40 or 50 people in a room, sometimes people are a little bit shy to raise the questions because they're worried, will I look like I'm a little bit, not so much an idiot, but okay, good old English word. But they may not want to basically discuss publicly some questions they have at their company. So where we've done this, all around the world, Australia, America, Europe, South America, what we tend to find comes out of this is there's an upsurge in our global client business, but a lot of local people invite us in for one-on-one chats to say, well, I've had this problem, or I've thought about this issue and I never knew how I could deal with it. You might be the answer.
All the best, and hopefully we should have a chat after your meeting's over.
Next time around.
After the meeting's over.
Yeah, well, let's do that. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
With that, it's a wrap on Storyboard this week. You can catch all our content on Facebook, Twitter and YouTube. Thanks for watching, and we'll be back same time next week. See you soon.